What's up, everyone? Welcome back to 20 Minutes with Multz. Welcome to episode 3 of the series, the first of 3 episodes coming your way this week. All 3 are going to be a little bit shorter than episodes 1 and 2, about half as long, but that means we're going to get 30 total minutes of content out this week. And in today's episode, we're going to be recapping quickly another big weekend for the Giants and Jets, as well as talking about the start of the NHL season and previewing the National League Championship Series between the San Diego Padres and Philadelphia Phillies. We'll have much more coming down the line with the ALCS and looking further forward in the world of sports. But right now, it's going to be those 3 topics in today's episode. If you like what you hear, please like and subscribe. And also comment down below any feedback you have on my takes or how you think the show is going so far. Look forward to seeing it all. Let's dive in. The Giants and Jets both win again, improving to a combined 9-3 for the season. Now, we're going to talk in a few minutes about the Phillies Padres NLCS matchup and how unexpected that was. But it's even more unexpected, 100 times more unexpected, I'll say, that New York's football teams already have this many wins. They had just 8 in 34 combined games last year. This year, in just 12, about a third of the time, they already have 9. For the Giants, who improved to 5-1, they took down the Ravens 24-20, and the rookies stole the show. Evan Neal allowed just 1 hurry on 32 pass blocking attempts this season in his best game so far in his young career. Wan'Dale Robinson came back for the first time since week 1 and caught his first touchdown. And Daniel Bellinger continuing to show off his talents as a blocker and a pass catcher with his 3rd total touchdown of the season. On defense, Kayvon Thibodeau continued to improve from his exceptional game against Green Bay, getting his first career sack, forcing the fumble on Lamar Jackson that ended up icing the game. You could see he was wearing his emotions on that jersey on his sleeve at the end of the game. Big Blue surviving being down 10 at the start of the 4th quarter to surge back for the win. The only real downside was that they let the Baltimore Ravens rush for over 200 yards. That's not great, and the total yardage between the two teams was way in favor of Baltimore, but Wink Martindale's defense still held its ground. And the last cherry on top, Saquon Barkley was slow out of the gate, still ended up finishing the game with almost 100 total scrimmage yards and a touchdown, and being real selfless, sliding down at the 1-yard line to make sure the Giants ice that game and get the win. Brian Daboll and his coaching staff continuing to prove what a big difference that good coaching can make. The Giants are a young team in some places and not really talented in others, and yet somehow they're 5-1, and thanks to Dallas losing to the Eagles, they are 2nd in the NFC East. For the Jets, who improved to 4-2 on the year after taking down Green Bay 27-10, I think their success has a lot less to do with the coaching staff as compared to the Giants, and much more to do with the talent on that team and that talent playing to expectations. Also, not quite like the Giants. It was a monster game on the ground, with Breece Hall leading the way with over 100 yards. The Jets' ground game averaged over 5.4 yards per carry with 2 touchdowns. Compared to Green Bay's, who got completely shut down by the Jets' defense, Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon held to 60 yards on 19 carries, just about 3 yards per carry. That's really not good. In the air, it was a really quiet game for Zach Wilson, who threw just 18 passes for 110 yards. He only had 10 completions. Corey Davis had another couple of clutch catches, 2 receptions for 52 yards. He doesn't really catch a ton of touchdowns. Nobody does on the Jets, but in the last few weeks, Corey Davis has had a big catch for a huge chunk of yardage at least once a game. And if the ground game is going to do what it does, running the ball over 30 times, then Zach Wilson can get away with throwing the ball 20 times as long as he doesn't make any big mistakes, and he didn't. And in the defensive side, boy, there's some studs on this team. Quinnen Williams with 2 sacks, just destroying the Packers' offensive line and making Aaron Rodgers' life a living hell. Just like Dexter Lawrence is doing for the Giants, these 2 guys, nose tackles, just disrupting everything up the middle. And funnily enough, they were both taken in the same draft. Lawrence was taken in the middle of the 1st round, while Williams was the number 3 overall pick. And to make things even more exciting for the Jets, in their secondary, there's just talent everywhere. 3 of the 5 highest rated New York Jet players per Pro Football Focus were in the secondary. LaMarcus Joyner and Michael Carter II finishing behind Sauce Gardner, who earned an 80.0 grade in this game, allowing just one completion. He has been way better than you would expect from a rookie cornerback. He's playing like an all-pro, proving that all the hype surrounding him coming out of Cincinnati was absolutely legit. And the Jets should be really thankful that Derek Stingley Jr. went to the Texans one pick before so that they could snag him. The Jets are 4-2, and the Giants are 5-1. These two teams are both in the top 10 of the NFL's power rankings entering Week 7. They both started out in the bottom 5 of the league when the season started. Huge leaps is an understatement. They've both got to keep it up, especially because both of their divisions this year, right now they look like the best in the NFL. Between Miami, New England, the Jets, and the Bills, the AFC East is going to be a war of attrition all year. And on the NFC side, between Dallas, the Giants, and the still undefeated 6-0 Philadelphia Eagles, that division race is also going to be a war of attrition. Both the Giants and Jets sticking their beaks into this war probably way earlier than expected. But for the fan bases, especially for me as a Giants fan and for all the other Giants fans and all the Jet fans out there, for all of us, what New York's football teams are doing to start 2022 is such a huge surprise. And all we can hope for is that New York's coaching staff and the continuing return of star players keeps them going on the right track. The Jets' defense keeps them going on the right track as the offense continues to carve out what its identity is, led by its core of young players. Let's quickly run through the start of the seasons for New York's two NHL squads. The Islanders first, they're 1-1 on the season, running into a brick wall in Sergei Bobrovsky for the Florida Panthers in the season opener. Bobrovsky stopping 32 of 33 shots the Isles put on him, all while Matthew Tkachuk netted his first of what will hopefully be many goals for the Panthers this season and over the course of the lengthy extension he signed. Still weird that Spencer Knight can't get the start in net on opening night for Florida, considering he was their first-round pick a few years ago, and that's still such a weird goaltending tandem and how they're operating it. But for the Islanders, Ilya Sorokin was solid, 26 or 28 saves in that game, but it wasn't good enough on that occasion. He bounced back in a big way, stopping 22 of 23 shots against the young Anaheim Ducks, who are also 1-1 on the season so far, and the Isles getting huge contributions up and down the lineup. 5 total assists from Anders Lee and Matthew Barzal. Your veteran leadership on the team, that's what you need from them, especially when they can still play at such a high level like those two can. Not to mention Robin Salo, Scott Mayfield, 2 goals apiece. The Islanders' depth has always been a question mark for them, and they're going to need to keep it up as things go on. For the Rangers, it's been an offensive slugfest out of the gate. 2 games already this season where they have scored at least 6 goals. Vincent Trocheck, brought in to be the new second-line center, has been exceptional with 5 points already, and already huge contributions from the blue liners, especially guys like Adam Fox. And up front, other big names like Chris Kreider's already got a multi-goal game, Artemi Panarin, Mika Zibanejad, all doing exactly what they're supposed to do. The Rangers are cup contenders this year. That's no secret. The one thing they really have to get a bit better at is they've also let up quite a few goals already this season. Multiple games allowing 4 goals. As good as the offense is, it's going to be unsustainable if they're allowing 4 goals every other game as they've done so far. But they're 3-1 on the season. Gerard Gallant and his squad doing what they need to do out of the gate. A good start, so key in any professional sport where the season is as many games as it is in the NBA, NHL, MLB, whatever you want. It's always important to get off to a 1-1 start for the Isles. More room to grow with only 2 games in. And of course the Rangers 3-1 slugging their way there. What you want to see. Finally, let's talk about the 2022 National League Championship Series featuring the Philadelphia Phillies against the San Diego Padres, just like we all expected. All right, I'm totally kidding. Dodgers-Braves was the much easier and much more likely matchup on paper, given that those two teams had owned the respective opponents they were playing, and they're just super talented, 100-plus win teams. But in playoff baseball, anything is possible, and Philly and San Diego proved it. Now we have the first ever league championship series in baseball history, in either league, where both of the teams involved have fewer than 90 wins. It's never happened before, and it pretty much means we're back on an equal playing field between these two teams. And they both played exceptional baseball in the division series round. Let's start with the Padres, who, frankly, outpitched the Dodgers in this series, which, as I talked about in the division series prediction, the Dodgers had gobs of pitching depth. And the Padres, their pitchers had largely struggled against LA this season. Specifically, Yu Darvish, Joe Musgrove, and Blake Snell, their three most important starters who had one combined win. Well, Darvish, in his start in Game 2, gave up 3 home runs, but the offense did just enough to get by. Blake Snell walked just 2 batters and gave up just 1 run in his start against the Dodgers in Game 3. He was brilliant. And Joe Musgrove had a quality start with 8 strikeouts in the decisive Game 4. He was also great. But the most important thing for San Diego, and it's proven to be the most important thing for every team that's moved on to this point, it's bullpen pitching. For the Padres, guys like Luis Garcia, Pierce Johnson, Tim Hill, and 31-year-old Robert Suarez coming out of nowhere throwing triple digits, unhittable this postseason. All those guys setting up a resurgent Josh Hader, and man, him being back, it's really good to see. For him, considering how bad of a regular season he had, and also for the Padres. They traded for him, they needed him to be this good, and he has been. Now San Diego's lineup, Manny Machado leading the way in that department, as expected. He's hitting almost 300 with an OPS of almost 1,000 this postseason. The rest of the lineup, well, it's not quite there yet. Austin Nola and Trent Grisham, remarkably, are both tied for 5th in baseball with a .381 batting average this postseason. Just like we expected, right? Well, again, more of what playoff baseball can bring. Ha-Sung Kim, Brandon Drury, Jake Cronenworth, Josh Bell, these guys have got to get going for San Diego. But against the Phillies pitching staff, that may not be so easy. And when it comes to Phillies' performance in the NLDS against the division rival Braves, the offense really stole the show. Bryce Harper hitting over 400 this postseason, carrying the torch the entire way. JT Realmuto with the exciting inside the park home run in Game 3. Gene Segura hitting almost 400. Brandon Marsh also hitting over 300. Really exceptional play. And for the Phillies, Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola both doing what they got to do. Nola was brilliant in his start against the Braves this round. And their bullpen, it had a few hiccups, certainly more hiccups than the Padres bullpen did, but it had to do a lot of work, and the large portion of that body of work was successful, especially by guys like Brad Hand, Zach Eflin, Sir Anthony Dominguez, the Phillies getting what they have to get from their key relievers. But again, pitching depth for them, still a bit of a concern for me. And just like we mentioned, with some of the key Padre hitters struggling, I look at Philadelphia's lineup. Kyle Schwarber's batting .050 in this postseason. Led the NL in home runs, such a spark plug out of the leadoff spot. He's got to wake up. Rhys Hoskins, I know he had the huge home run off Spencer Strider. He's still hitting just .154 in the playoffs. And then you look at guys like Nick Castellanos and Alec Boehm, both hitting around 200, and Bryson Stott hitting .133. Somehow Philadelphia has scored a ton of runs despite a large portion of their lineup not really hitting like we just outlined. Nevertheless, they're here, going up against a Padres team looking to win its first ever World Series. They're in the NLCS for the first time since 2006, looking to get to their first World Series since 1998. The Phillies looking to get to their first World Series since 2009 when they lost to the Yankees. Let's get into the final prediction here. In this one, I am taking the San Diego Padres over the Philadelphia Phillies 4-2. 6 games, Padres win the series. San Diego's bullpen is white hot. Their starting pitching has proven that it is as steady and rock solid as they come. Not to say Philadelphia's isn't. Ranger Suarez, Zach Wheeler, and Aaron Nola are all capable. But Philly's lineup is even colder than San Diego's. San Diego's pitching staff is even hotter than Philly's. That perfect 1-2 punch come together, and it's Padres over the Phillies 4-2. That's going to do it for episode 3 of 20 Minutes with Multz. Episode 4 will be coming out tomorrow, and it will be focused strictly on previewing the American League Championship Series between the Houston Astros and either the Yankees or the Guardians. Whichever one of them pulls off the Game 5 win today. Not much else going on yet. We'll have Knicks and Nets to talk about in the next episode, along with much more NHL and NFL. And hopefully there will be some good ALCS news to talk about in there. But tomorrow, episode 4, ALCS preview. You won't want to miss it. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. Leave any comments down below. I'm Daniel Multz, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.